talk about that too.
Yeah, man.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? This show is about to begin.
Show
What's going on? Go ahead, Skilbo, what are you saying there?
I was just gonna say this show has begun.
Has
it's
begun.
Time. We're letting people file in. What's going on? Resurrection. Cheers, Delta 9. Itzy's is always here. Yeah, man. John Boy, I seen you earlier floating through in the pre-show. Should be a good show. Our guest will be here momentarily. Won't be long, and we'll get into that. So hopefully everybody is having a great Thursday and ready to talk some mycology.
Strangely enough, it's telling him he needs a passcode. A
few weeks.
Interesting.
The passcode, you can get that by hitting the share thing, and you can get those. It'll be in the bottom corner. Yo, what's happening?
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Came in just
I was just about
time.
to send you this passcode. That worked out. You didn't need one.
Right on.
Cheers, Cam.
What up, my dude? How are you?
Doing great here.
Apparently, I didn't need a passcode, so that's good.
That's cool. That's good. I was wondering. I was like, oh no, where's the passcode? And then I found a passcode, and you didn't need the passcode. So perfect. It worked out.
Right on.
Weird.
Yeah, we're just getting the show started. Obviously, just here in the first minute, we're letting some people file in. We were going to do a quick where were we, because we didn't do a show last week, mainly because last week Becca and I had lots of prepping to do for the Big Clouds Cashmere Clouds event that was happening in Southwest Michigan. The week before that, last week, had we have had a show, we would have talked about the Spread the Spores event that occurred in Detroit. I was fortunate enough to get a slot there to hang out with everybody. Abolish Mycology, Lynn Stabs a lot. They were able to be a big part of that as well. And of course, we have one of the main people here, Cameron. Cheers, brother. Thank you so much for coming and joining us on the show. One of the, maybe you are the proprietor of the Spread the Spores, but I guess we'll dig into that, man. Cheers, brother. Why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? Let our followers know who you are.
Cheers, brother. I appreciate you having me on. Currently I am the sole proprietor of Spread the Spores. Just kind of a little idea that popped into my head. I think I made my first post to see if people would be even interested in the idea last November. And from there, it was just diving deep in, man.
And I'll let our viewers know we have, since we do promote safe access here on the show, this is kind of what Spread the Spores is all about.
Definitely. That is the one thing that I would like to say is thank you for creating a banner that everybody can meet underneath. Thank you for being able to put these on and make sure that the spores actually do get spread.
Appreciate that, brother.
Is very cool, man. And that is one of the things I did want to touch on definitely about the event is the wide variety of
availability,
the medicine that was at the event. Everything from, we got some lion's mane tincture, we got a bag of a lion's mane culture so that we can grow our own.
Right.
There were other medicinals. There were spores, spore prints, syringes, liquid cultures, the whole nine. Becca and I were there.
Everything
with
someone would need.
I got a cactus. It was fantastic. So this was just an idea back in November. When was the inaugural, or when and where? City location. You don't have to give the exact location, but whereabouts?
All good. I'm an open book, man. I don't the first couple of events we were a little in some gray areas, but the whole idea, I mean, I'm above ground. I'm trying to bring this into the light. So like I said, I'm an open book, man. The first event was in Grand Rapids, actually on Leonard Street.
Yes, sir. I was there.
Word.
Yes.
Heck, that was a very, very special night. Being the first one, it was just so wild to see one room full of vendors where, as you said, you could get your liquid culture, your plates, your grains, your bags, whatever you needed to start your own journey. And then just on the other side of the room was classes, education, people legitimately sitting on their yoga mats for
Dude,
hours.
Cosmic Koala, dude, with the gong was the fucking shit.
Sarah is amazing. I've been very blessed to work with her. She did a gong ceremony at the one in Detroit as well. Been very blessed to work with some amazing people doing all this.
So we had the first one in Grand Rapids. I'm guessing the one that we were able to attend in Detroit. That was the second one.
You were the second one.
Yeah. We were the second one. Okay.
It was
all right.
Actually. That was the fourth one.
Fourth one. Okay.
So
all right.
yeah,
cool, man. Let's walk through.
I ended up going, like I said, I dove deep into this, man, and I had one in the very first one in January was in Grand Rapids. The second one was in February in Wyoming.
Oh, wow.
We just had the last one before Detroit was in April, and it was actually in Kalamazoo at Papa Pete's.
Okay.
And then we had the fourth one in Detroit.
I thought I was familiar with the Kalamazoo one. All right. Okay. So I was thinking that there was three. Wow. Fourth. So then the next one would then be Chicago, if I'm
Chicago, May 8th, and then Long Beach, June 25th.
Wow. So you're pumping at least one out a month. I like it, man. So we have safe access. You're also spreading the word of harm reduction, which is another huge thing that we love to talk about here on the show. Just in conversation between you and I recall you talking about kind of what got you into this whole thing with, taking testing reagents out to festivals and stuff like that. Something that I most certainly admire about that. You want to talk a little bit about kind of what got you into this path of safe access and harm reduction?
100%. I have always loved hallucinogenics. It's been a tool for me since I was probably younger than I would probably like to admit. But it's been a very useful tool for me for many years now. And so I started fresh out of high school. I was introduced to the Grateful Dead. So I went from festival to festival for a long time. And in the beginning of it all, I was definitely knew what you have. When anyone's been to festivals and you hear puddle, you want a puddle. They would literally an unknown liquid and unbeknownst amount would just in your hand. And so that's how this is super intense and crazy. I wonder if there's a more logical way to go about this. So I ordered the books, Pycol and Tycol, and just started doing my research, man. I have no problem with anyone who wants to try every hallucinogenic under the sun. By all means, expand your mind. Just know what you're doing and know what you're putting into your body. That way you can know how much to take. You can know what the general effects are, how long it's going to last. And if you have a potential chance of overdosing or not if you take too much. A lot of times people just group acid into this big chemical allurement. And when you have 2CI, 2CB, 25I, DOB, these are not LSD. And when taken in the same aspect and in dosage ratings as LSD, these are where the bad trips happen and the I became an orange juice happened and this happens when people are not educated on the topics that they're ingesting into their body. So I, again, did my research and I myself have tested a plethora of different chemicals with reagents, confirming what they are, and personally for my own experience. So after that, I decided I wanted to try and help others on their journey. And obviously the first step was music festivals for me. We all know that there is a plethora of substances that are at music festivals. So yeah, I would basically walk around with bunk police test kits, and I would say free testing, free testing. You'd be surprised at the amount of people that didn't care. They were like, yeah, whatever, bro. We already bought it. We already spent the money on it. But I did test a lot of people's drugs. And if it tested negative to what they thought it was, if they bought something that it wasn't what they hoped for, I would do my best to make sure that they got what they were looking for. So yeah, that was the beginning of the harm reduction journey. Just making sure people were educated on what they're putting into their bodies, man.
You said a lot of real important stuff, man. Real important one that touches real close to home to myself would be the you don't know really what's in your bladder when you get a bladder, or what's in that liquid when you get a liquid. There's, like you said, all of those, they're not even analogs of LSD. They're completely different compounds of a completely different class of psychedelic that are active in the same sort of weight. Like, it'll fit on a bladder, but it also doesn't have the same kind of safety profile that any kind of a LSD analog might have. Where LSD analog, somebody might be used to taking 10 strips, and a 10 strip of one of these other chemicals could be fatal. So we're talking really, really riding a line there. And trusting your source, this, that, or the other. But the most important thing is knowing what's in your baggie, so to speak. You doing the festival thing, it reminds me of the documentary What's in My Baggie. I'm not sure if that's Dance Safe or Bunk Police, or which one. Bunk Police puts that one on. But that's an incredible documentary, and they test substances, and it's like 90 to 99% of the Molly or MDMA samples that they would test were either bath salts or it's methadone or something like that.
Sure.
And that's what you're getting 99% of the time. If you're looking for a powder stimulating, it's like some of it was like, I don't know, the baby laxatives, like all kinds of random stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
it's
just
sad.
like test off for it. Yeah.
It's just mean.
Yeah, it is. It's mean. It's
mean.
Like really, dude. Like,
I would always like with dose, when you'd hear people like getting dosed. I've been on the end of like being dosed. I know lots of people. My dad's in this chat a lot. He was dosed by mescaline back in the day. And I always talk about, like, that's like raping someone's consciousness, like it's really, really bad on somebody, those type of scenarios, festivals. And yeah, that psychedelics are you want everybody to love, and you want everybody to have fun and enjoy it, but not everybody's ready for them.
No, you're not ready for it. Like you were saying, these substances can cause way more harm than good. When people are mentally unstable, when they're going through rough patches, when they have trauma, and they're not properly educated on these topics, it can cause more harm than good, man. And so to just not essentially care, from my perspective, that like they're giving these people these like life-changing substances, and then the amount of greed that I have found in the drug industry, and obviously it's been shadowed by the whole black market, and that's just the way it's had to be. Oh man, yeah, that's a whole different topic.
That's a good point, though. It's a good topic. I suppose we could get to it, but I mean, the whole reason that safe access points exist is because drug dealers get lumped with, or should I say that substance dealers get lumped in with drug dealers, something like that. And sometimes you have to go to certain dealers of certain substances in order to get what you actually need for your specific ailment. You're somebody who needs mushrooms, well, you just so happen to need to go to that whatever house on the corner that a lot of people are actually going in and out of there for coke or something like that. Yeah, for lack of a better term. Exactly. And I've been there for cannabis.
Dodgy corners, man. Dodgy corners.
Of all things. I've had to go to get cannabis out of homes with hella heavy foot traffic down in like east and west side of Detroit and stuff like that. And
a whole lot of scurrying going on
for a couple ounces of weed. $80 worth of weed, you're risking your life. I mean, shit. And now today, I mean, it's these are the reasons why it's very important, for
test
safe
your
access
shit
and to test your shit. Yeah. Safe access, test your shit.
That's one thing I liked is with Cameron,
Skilbo.
you're doing the you used to work, was it oh shit, I was reading up on it, I can't remember, I always get them mixed up. Which one did you work for at festivals that you would walk around and help people? Bunk police, there you go. So that, I wish that more people were aware of that and were extremely supportive of that and really, really pass that along as a message. Is, we're getting to the point where we don't know where things are coming from, and you really you got to be careful, man.
100%. It's really sad. I agree with you. I really wish more people would know that these testing kits even exist. But the fact of the matter is, along with the laws that have held us down,
accessibility to that too.
And this is something I was actually unaware of. I had no idea that the kits I was carrying around this whole time were illegal. But
what?
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Testing kits themselves are paraphernalia.
What is this, 1977 all over again?
Yep. And so I do want to just randomly blurt out that is one of the things in the bill, in the Michigan bill we're trying to pass right now, that will be changed. All reagent kits, testing kits will not be lumped in with paraphernalia anymore, which is just ridiculous, man. We are all adults. We all have, we can all choose what we would like to do in life and what we ingest in our bodies. And so to not be able to test them when the government physically knows that X amount of Americans are overdosing and taking the wrong drugs daily, it's just asinine and ass backwards to me to be like, yeah, well, testing kits are illegal too. You're all just drug addicts.
Well, it's almost like they're trying to get rid of people that way in a very nefarious manner. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The old
if they overdose
conspiracy,
the wrong drugs, they don't care.
Right.
Holding back the Narcan and stuff like that.
Red and I have talked about testing your stash since the very first Behind the Veil that we did, and it's just something that just needs to be said over and over again. Exactly.
I've taken those blotters where I took 2 blotters and everything was melting off the walls, and I said, "This isn't L25. Like, this is just
what the hell this is.
25."
So it's kind of weird. Through my many different chemical intakes, one of the things I came across was DOB. DOB typically has a thicker blotter specifically for the chemical because the molecular weight can't sit on an average blotter, right?
What is DOB?
The shit was a little heavier.
Yeah, DOB is I could not pronounce the
okay. I'm with you on that, man.
I'm sorry, I can't. It's like,
I think it's a phenethylamine, though.
It is.
I think it's of that class.
Yes, it is, and it's very strong, like double the effective weight of LSD. So that is one thing that you don't want to take the same amount thinking it's LSD and it's DOB.
There's a huge difference between 2 hits and 4.
Yes, huge hit. DOB has more of a chemical taste. It will make your mouth go numb. You will literally taste it as soon as it hits your tongue, like a little zap. And for me, it was, now I'll say 2 things. For me, I had the most intense out of body experience. Like, I literally was sitting in front of the fire and thought I was walking across the entire festival grounds.
Mind out of body jam.
Yep. And so that was amazing, right? That was sitting. All of my movement on DOB felt very slowed, very robotic, very glitchy, not like it just what I didn't feel okay. I felt like I was almost wanting I wanted that out of body experience because I didn't want to be inside anymore. And that's not something and that happens when you take too much. Like the more you take, the more that feeling happens. And if I would have known what I was taking, I wouldn't have taken that much. And I could have, pleasantly, hopefully just experienced the out of bodiness. But again, because I didn't know, because I just thought, I'm going to take this hit of acid. And those are the results. Those are the repercussions. Well, luckily I, was one of the lucky ones that all I got was kind of a glitchy feeling, but that doesn't happen to everyone.
Yeah, but you're a seasoned veteran as well.
Yes.
Now, what if this was your very first experience and you've heard all the benefits of, LSD 25 and think, wow, I really finally got this first opportunity to finally get my hands on this stuff. I can't wait. And then that happens.
I just was talking to someone today about how they had, a buddy in college was at a party and they took too much and they got naked and stripped down and ran in the streets and ended up getting arrested that night.
No, I think I was at that party that night. But I had a good time, right?
So, luckily that didn't happen to me. But if it was my first time, I could see it. Your body gets super hot. Like I don't want clothes on.
Yeah. You don't really realize where you're at in that scenario.
My advice to everybody has always been like super, super just tip of the toe in the water if it's your very first experience. You'd rather underdose rather than over.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
But we gotta have some kind of honor among thieves, in so much as, you know what I mean? Like it's never gonna be this way, but you almost have to really vet who you're getting your stuff from. But then the problem with that is also you think, oh man, my buddy, I've known my buddy for years. He's always giving me the solid. This is straight. The problem is your buddy's not the one that's creating it. Your buddy's fucking competent himself. And who knows where he got that from. So you can't just say on the strength of someone's name that this is good shit. Because the first thing I always did 35 years ago was, hey man, is this shit good? What do you think? Have you had this stuff? What can you tell me about that? How many do I need? You know what I mean? Like it's
all I would ask too is if
everybody in chat knows what's up with that
before.
Yep.
How was it when you had it? You can only go off of anecdotal, personal experiences. Oh,
you try to find your own. You try to find your own canary in the coal mine. You find that one person that that gets the same stuff from you, and you go, "Hey, have you had that yet? How was it for you? Is it? Should I do the same amount? Should I do less? What's going on with it?"
I always, of course, I never wanted. So you go to festivals, and you're walking down, the main way, and there's, a bunch, boomers. Little cat calls for ketamine. There's all these different little slang terms that are being shot out to you left and right. One of the biggest things I can tell you is don't take anything from the first person that offers you.
You're either getting fleeced or fucked on it, one way or the other, man.
Exactly.
That happened to me in Amsterdam when I was by I got off. I was like, I'm going to park by the train station, because the train station is always a hustle bustle spot. If I want to get some really good stuff, I'm going to probably find it there. No, that was not the case. In fact, and I walked around for like 3 hours afterwards, like, oh, dude, I think I got fucking fleeced in another country. Holy shit. I'm an international fleecer.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've definitely had those.
Even, of course, you have to have the test kit to do it. But one of the biggest things, ask them if you can test it.
Yep.
What do they say? Do they allow you to? Because you need a minuscule amount to test it.
Can we talk about that for someone?
And if you go up to someone and say, hey, and they're offering, not just go up to someone and say, hey, can I test what you got? But they're offering to sell it to you. Say, well, yeah, can I test a little bit first? Their response is all you need to know.
Yeah.
All you need to know. If they're sketched out, if they don't want you to test it, if they won't let you test it, walk the fuck away.
Yep.
Simple as that, man.
Yep. There's too many other opportunities.
Yep.
And
heard about it.
So
we're
talking
buy
about
one and then test it real fast.
Let's talk about this piece of blotter. So let's say that I'm able to find some blotter. How much of it do I actually need in order to perform this test? Is it going to cost me a whole hit? Do I have to more or less?
I'll be right back.
Perfect. I love show and tell.
Yeah,
Cheers, chat. I'm really glad that everybody is with us tonight. I hope you're enjoying this. Cameron is a font of knowledge. So we're going to hang in here. If you guys have any questions, toss them in the chat, and one of the four of us will try to ask him, and we'll keep it rolling from there.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, Becca and I actually got through phase 2 of the bunk police
The
onboarding
training
process. Yeah.
I'm really, really glad that
We
you
have
guys
like
are getting involved in that, man.
an interview type
phone interviews.
Right. Okay,
He's
here we
got-
go.
he's
Can
got a
we,
little piece of
Cameron,
paper here.
Red, can you make him full screen, please?
Yeah, let's go full screen over here. Do. We've got
Okay,
a piece
so
of
there we go.
printer paper, of course, here.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, indeed.
This is just printer paper, and I just cut a little square. All right, that would be probably bigger than a tab right now. To be honest with you, a
Yes.
tab might be smaller than that. Literally to test it.
You guys are going to love how small this amount is. Look at this.
You
It's hard to
need
even
smaller
see.
than that.
Yeah.
You need smaller.
Yeah, you can cut
Look at-
that.
he's
in
gonna cut
half
that
and
in
get-
half
you can
again.
Get you can get your Elrich and your Hoffman off of that right there.
Red with the promo.
You need probably something smaller than fucking that, dude.
Because you can see the color change. That's all.
To not test them is absolutely insane to me. Absolutely insane, because I still have this.
Yep.
Right.
That's plenty.
You're not
Plenty.
going to notice the difference in that dosage. If
No, you won't.
No, not at all. And especially if it's good stuff. And if you tested it, then you know it's good. And you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Well, that can
Easy.
help head off your anxiety. Like if you're using this for a mental health kind of refresher course for yourself, the one thing you can have is if somebody can get in their own headspace and they can think, oh my God, this is going to be too strong. Did I take too much? And you can get in your own space and really, really compound matters in the journey going forward by testing it. You know what I mean? You can even get a sense of maybe not how strong it is, but how quickly the color changes and the color change itself.
You
Yes.
know that size of that little piece that he's testing, with the reagent, that's about how much of a piece that I use to actually ingest to test. Like I'll test an 1/8 to a 16th of a dose like that just to see, check dosage, check onset time, things like that, especially check dosage. I mean, blotters so all
Well,
over the place, there could be
well-
60 mics in that piece.
While we're talking about reagent kits, can you make a recommendation on a site or a brand or anything else that we can get for ourselves to use this?
both Bunk Police and Dance Safe. Dance Safe has a Michigan chapter, so you can find some of them actually in stores. I know Juicy's Glass Shop on Leonard was working with Dance Safe. They had some reagent kits in there at one point. Dance Safe, I think Bunk Police does now too, but Dance Safe was one of the first people to come out with fentanyl test kits. They have the strips. That is super important. For God's sakes, even
Very
if you
important.
get the reagent kit and you just get the fentanyl kit, like, man,
Just protect yourself. That could be fatal if you fuck around and don't do that stuff.
Just for sake of conversation, the Bunk Police does have the fentanyl.
they do.
I have some. Yeah, I carry some of those around from
Word.
them. They're super cheap, man. If anybody out there is interested in those, again, it just takes a small bit of your sample to dilute in a little bit of water, and then you can basically test that sample to make sure that there's no fentanyl in it, and tons of analogs. I think it's testing for like dozens of different fentanyl analogs. So,
Oh, word. Okay, that's
Yes.
awesome. I didn't know that.
which is important nowadays because that's where the deaths are.
'Cause it
occurring, I
changes all the
believe, is
time.
it's always changing. Right. Yep. For method of
Important to keep up.
getting it over here. Right.
Some of their test kits now will actually separate what's in it also, so it'll tell you
Oh, nice.
about how much of so and so is in your
Is that
sample, how
Bunk
much.
Police thing
Yeah.
does?
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, they have a separation analysis now, which is nice because it'll tell you like how much it within, I'm guessing, a range of like dosage, right? It'll tell you
Sure.
like how many micrograms of substance are in your blotter or whatever within a range.
I mean,
that's
even if it's not super accurate down to 1 or 10 points, it still can give you a sense of maybe not biting off more than you can chew.
Sure.
Absolutely, dude.
Like when you're even in the cannabis industry right now, the testing, when you read the packaging labels, it says these percentages vary within 10%.
Exactly.
They do. Yep, you're absolutely right. In some cases, like edibles, it's like 10 milligrams, 8 or 10 milligrams or something like that.
You know, there's
Right.
a difference between 20% THC and 30% THC. Even though we're not proponents of the whole high THC equals best medicine, but again, if you happen to be someone who is not from our fine, wonderful Mitten state, and you happen to visit here, and you go to a place that has, you know, adult usage, you really have to be careful because it might be more potent than what you're used to sourcing in your home states.
So I was just in the dispensary today, actually, talking with one of the bud tenders, a good buddy of mine, and we got on the topic of high THC to terpene content because I was looking at some of their concentrates. Some of them had the terpene profile and percentage on it, and some of them did not. And I just think it's super important to include that information, especially as more comes to light on how important terpenes are, because there are people that cannot handle high amounts of THC, but don't understand, but they can't handle the high amounts of THC, but still need that pain relief. And they don't understand that certain terpenes influence the effects of THC and actually allow it to pass the blood-brain barrier better. So a lower amount of THC can actually affect you more with the correct terpene profile.
And if you are looking for, if you happen to be in a dispensary and you're looking for pain relief and you do find that they have some extra information on there, make sure that you look for beta-caryophyllene or myrcene. Those are both really, really good for pain relief and also as a sedative. I would ask, if you were at your house, one thing that you can do, if you get something that's high in terpenes like that, and you say, man, this is really good medicine, but ooh, doggy, she might be a little strong. What you can do is if you get some clean sourced CBD, you could do like a 1-to-1 grind the flowers together. Take something that's got like 10% CBD and something that's got 30% of the other one, play with your ratios until you get it where you want it to be, grind the two together, and now you've got some awesome fucking pain relief and all the benefits that come along with CBD, and that's also balanced along with the high THC that we've already been able to source. So there are ways that you can get around this.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I like that. I never even thought about that. I know there are some, God, I'm blanking on the name right now, and I feel bad.
It's okay.
They're phenomenal breeders, but they're a Michigan breeder, and they're doing a lot of work with higher THC strains, crossing them back with specific hemp strains, high CBD strains with little to no THC. And what they're doing is actually finding medium grounds where there's a good amount of CBD and then still like 15, 16, 17, 18% THC.
And if you can get to that 1-to-1 ratio. Yeah. Like I'm saying is just in case anybody's not following along. So you got like 30% THC and you got 10% CBD. Then to me, you're going to need 1/3 or less of that 30. And then you're going to go heavy with like 2/3 of that CBD and try to work it that way.
Yeah, you can balance it.
The CBD really just cuts the head high.
Yeah,
the THC a little bit. So you don't need a lot, just a little bit will help.
I've tried some that are like,
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it makes it like a little more euphoric in smoking if you add some CBD to it. I think it sometimes, for me, smoking gets a little heavy, so that just kind of like just a little bit lightens it up for me.
Yeah, man.
Helps with the effects.
A little bit does go a long way, because actually my first exposure to that was from Skilbo. He had some CBD isolate at one of Old Man's gatherings.
That was Old Man's CBD that he had. He let me use that shit. Okay. Yeah, because we got super fucking blown out, dude. Yeah. We were like smoking for hours. We smoked this whole fucking barn out, man.
You need a little CBD.
I talked to Old Man. I was like, bro, I said, I've never actually experienced any kind of like cannabis high THC anxiety in my life, but something, Jesus Christ, something has got me by the ass, man. And he was like, oh dude, it's cool, man, come on in the house. the little dab rig, and I mean, I was not the only person to utilize that. Once everybody came in, they were like, "Oh shit, okay, fuck it, let's try it."
One dab will do you.
Isolates, yeah, man. CBD's a wild. It's a brake pedal. You know, that's the analogy I always use.
It's a good thing to have too. If you are one that is a very social smoker and you like to have people over, and maybe you have your own garden and stuff, getting your hands on a little bit of CBD isolate might not be a bad idea. If you have somebody that comes over and you literally melt their face. Cameron,
I'm sorry to laugh. I do that.
I mean?
I only laugh because I do that all the time. You want to?
You're that guy, right?
Big
Try
old
this.
dude.
Oh,
I used to be like, here, you want to sit down and have a smoke sesh? And then by the time that like I'm done shutting up, we've smoked 4 or 5 joints. And my friend would be like, I gotta go home, man. But I don't know if I can get up.
Read some of those
Walking to
rainbow
death.
sessions that we had at your house where fucking I haven't had red smoke in a while, and I sit down and we're just going hard at Rainbow Driver and shit. I'm like, fuck,
Oh yeah,
shit's kind of heavy, bro.
Such
Rainbow
a
Driver
dangerous
will get you.
smoke there, man,
Just
because
kept
it's so
rolling 'em.
powerful, but it tastes so
rolling 'em up
good. You
for
don't
you,
want to
Skilbo.
stop. You know?
Yep.
I got blown away the very first time I tried that
Super
Rainbow
gas.
Driver. I was over at Abolished House and he had picked some up. It was like Skilbo, because you know what it was? It was when we were doing those goofy ass those commercials that we did. Do you remember? We had
Oh,
the
yeah.
stupid
Yeah,
wig
yeah.
on with the yellow jacket, and we had the hoopty cars and shit. We just sat over there. You know, it's
Sounds
the
funny.
beginning. There it is, the man wolf. So the thing was, I was sitting there, and you know, we're rolling our own joints and shit. So I roll this gigantic fucking rainbow up and smoke it, and we're getting ideas on how we're gonna do this commercial thing. Man, about halfway through this motherfucker, I'm like, damn, if this was the whole joint, I'd have been straight by myself.
Seriously, that one's heavy in like terpenoline and probably caryophyllene. I think that's one of them. I think caryophyllene is the one that you're talking about that is good for allowing it to enter the blood brain or across the blood brain barrier.
Yes.
Better, right?
Yeah. The beta caryophyllene.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if it's a little
absolutely.
higher than that,
Which is that peppery shit that people
peppery, musky,
It's
yeah,
its own
earthy,
terpene, right?
yeah,
It's its own.
One of
thing.
my
It-
favorite
yeah.
terpenes is
terpene
geraniol.
and cannabinoid.
Which one?
Geraniol.
Geranium.
Oh yeah, the geranium one.
Yeah,
That's
geranium.
good
my
for
bad.
yeah. It's I think it's geraniol, whatever it is, but yeah, GERANIOL.
And why do you like that there, Cam?
So I find it to be very relaxing. It's a very
Okay.
pleasant smoke, and a lot of the times when you get that, it's going to be more of a floral smoke. I'm trying to think of one that had a high hydrant. Oh, there's a company called Trap House that does really good at putting their terpene information on the labeling. A couple of the ones that they do has I'm talking like 8+%
Wow.
geraniol. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, dude. Some of them are like,
That's usually like less than 1%.
Yeah. and
Yeah.
it's always myrcene.
yes. Yes. Some of their concentrates were like above 10% terpene content, and I was blown away by that. I don't think I have any like old packagings to even look at, dang it. But maybe if I get on another show with you guys, I'll have some more packaging to show you.
Did you hear that?
Yeah,
Did you
that's
hear that,
sweet.
chat? He wants to come back and hang out
like
with
the
us
sound of
another
this.
time. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, that's something I've been really I preached that for the longest time at my last job, and just talking about how those would really help sales for all companies on the shelf, not just the ones that are vertically integrated, but just like every salesman, or caregiver or whatever it is, having those flavonoids, to be able to discuss. You can discuss the actual aromatherapy behind those flavonoids, because that's really what cannabis is, for aside from just THC, CBD, pain relief deal. You're talking about a whole slew of just aromatherapy.
100%. I'm actually like so happy that you use that terminology with it. Because I've taught a couple of terpene classes. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Trichome Institute, Max Montrose.
Yes. Yeah.
I went in the very first terpene class he held in Michigan. I think it was in 2016 or something like that. It was in Lansing, and I actually went there and met with Max and took his course and stuff. You don't really realize growing up that like this lavender oil and rose oil and all these things are, I mean, what is lavender oil?
Linalool, and linalool is good for sleeping.
Exactly.
Why does all the pillow
just
spray?
a better way to market it, right? No one's
Yeah.
gonna buy linalool, but they'll buy lavender oil. You know what I mean?
I think I'd buy that. Linalool.
It's got a funny name.
So one of the things I really, really loved about that class was the debate on indica and sativa and how they're kind of null and void now. What
It's
a
more about
better
a
way
leaf.
to be able to go about it is, again, ranging the terpenes. Terpenes can have more of an effect than the CBD and the THC. So understanding and being able to kind of diagnose the terpenes is super important. When you first open a jar or smell a bud, there's 3 different areas that this will hit. If it is more of a sedating strain, it'll stay right under your nose when you smell it. I say it's more like like it's just there. It mellows you, it chills you, right? You'll have ones that you smell and it starts there and then goes to the middle of the nose. You kind of get that, like the okay, you know, that's your middle ground, right? Then you're gonna get your sativas, your hazes, the ones with more myrcene and stuff. And when you smell it, it zips you right up. It opens your eyes a little bit. You're like, whoa, that's got a kick to it. That's gonna make you have more energy.
Those lines.
And so gauging where the smells stay can give you a better idea of what the effects are going to be than rather just saying, oh, this is a sativa or this is indica.
It's a hard one from like working in a dispensary and talking to most people, starting to even like broach that subject in any way. It was like,
Yep.
They were like everything they've learned from that point was a lie, you know, like sativa
Right.
and indica is like,
That's
like,
where
oh, I want the sativa, but I don't really want anxiety. All right, let's see what we can do there. Let's find a deal.
Right.
that's when I started using the term aromatherapy, was in the shop, because it was the most simplistic way to kind of describe this whole terpene entourage deal that we're dealing with something that they've already heard of, you know.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I'd say terpenes and I would just get deer in the headlights, you know, real fast with people. Like, well, I already don't know what THC is. Now you're throwing all these other things at me. But that's regulated cannabis, where a lot of the people are first timers. I mean, fortunately, you know, in some instances, you get a lot of, in our patients, you know, have already been veterans of cannabis and stuff like that. But still, you talk about this kind of stuff and they still don't really know. Doing these pop-up caregiver events and things like that, or safe access events like Spread the Spores. There's people in there who are new to cannabis. So, I mean, you know, there's, you know, you start talking the science and stuff, they get deer in headlights on you real fast. You really have to be able to, you know, kind of, for lack of a better term, I guess, dumb it down, you know.
Smells and tastes, Red. Smells and tastes. That's what you got to get them on. If it tastes like this, it's going to probably have these kind of effects. And if it smells like this, I used to say all the time that, you know, like when they first started with the, you know, oh, you can't smell it because it's already in a sealed package. Well, fuck you, I'm not buying it then. Do you have?
I hated that.
Like, dude, I don't ever buy by my eyes. I could give a fuck what it looks like because I'm not buying it to look at it. I'm buying it to consume it in whatever form or fashion that it happens to be. And here's the thing, man, I've been a medical patient, ding, 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 for 10 years now. I've held my card for 10 years. I got to have something that works.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Could not. That literally, when I don't know if they started doing that. I remember during like COVID, they had that big thing. Well, we can't have everyone smelling the jars. It's like, bro, like, Yeah, I agree. I can't buy if I can't smell it, bro. Like that when you go to the High Times cannabis cup, oh boy, that got me. That got me. You see all the PGR bud in these big bags looking nice, but they don't want you to smell it because they know there's nothing there. You open that thing, it's gonna be smelling like dust, bro.
They'll just open.
Yep.
I'll just lay them open.
Those terpenes are what you're smelling in the air.
Wow.
Just realize when you're smelling a lot of terpenes at like a outdoor event like that and shit, realize you're not going to be able to take those home and smoke them. They're gone, baby.
Not if they
Yep.
keep turkey bags sitting out.
Yeah.
Sweating ones.
Yeah. Sweating out. That's yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Fergroli with all this terpene talk, man. I mean, I wish Fergroli were here. He'd be totally geeking out on it.
Teach their own, I suppose. But when you are looking for actual medicine, you're actually looking for the relief or whatever it is, it's those terpenes, man. I've always found the best relief from, Granddaddy Purple is one of those 16 percenters, and her and I, well, me personally, I've always discussed my range being between 18 and 22. Like if it's anywhere in that range and it's got a good
Talking THC content.
THC content
Sure,
between
yeah.
18 and
Yep,
22%.
I agree.
And as long as it has a good flavor, high terpene or something, it'll get me. This is me smoking one to myself. If it was the five of us sitting around, it doesn't really matter what it is. We're probably gonna have to smoke 3 or 4. But like,
Right.
to like get there. But like, if it was just me, so I'm good on one doobie if it's just like 18 to 22, as long as it's got some flavor and
More of an overall experience. I don't just sit there and reef it till it's gone. I sit, take a few puffs, chillax, talk, check an email or two,
We'll go out.
Yeah, yep, it'll go
We'll
out.
go out.
Oh,
Couple
I don't
times,
know how. I
probably.
think it's because you smoke cigarettes, but you could just like be there.
Yeah, I do
Forever.
this thing where
Yes.
it just like
Where it just
dangles.
sits there.
I'll have these little nubs of roaches just dangling, barely igniting
Red.
my
And then they'll
mustache
be
on
like,
fire.
"Oh, do you want this?
Do you want to hit this?
You know it's gone,
sitting there
Red.
for
It's been gone for
45
25
It's been
minutes.
out for 40. I wander around my backyard with like a little roach hanging out of my mouth. It just, I don't know.
I ride around in the John Deere like that, right?
Finally get back to the ashtray.
Rip your skin off of it."
It's all dry and shit.
Sorry.
I'm good.
That's the
I'll roll
truth,
my
man.
own.
That's funny. Yeah.
It's fun. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Dude, I mean, it's medicine, aromatherapy. The CBD thing's pretty cool. I have talked to our buddy Dankovic. He's been a long time follower and back and forth. There's some cherry wine Skilbo's holding up there. He's a hemp farmer in between farms, and he's sending me a little care package to work with. I'm gonna do some extract and some things like that. Probably make some full spectrum oil out of his stuff, and he's gonna send me some other bits. I'm gonna do the same deal like Skilbo was talking about, and just roll up some flour, smoke some of that, and get some of that in my regiment. And on top of the full spectrum that he can provide, we did source a isolate, a small batch of isolate just to try out, because we're going to make a round of MCT oil. And this way we're using the isolate just to keep it,
Tinctures.
tincture, flavorless type of deal, and
Word,
be able
okay.
to properly dose it. And we're going to get these tested and things like that. And
Make a human version and a dog version.
that's the one thing we're going to try to focus on is a pet version of this. Yeah. So we're using the
Word.
isolate.
Are we gonna get a
Love
cool?
that.
We need a cool logo of like that drawing that Natalie did of like the OG to be the.
Yeah,
We gotta use.
Well, that'll be the pet version logo, but we have, I wish I should put DOG on one, man. It would be cool.
Yes,
I'd like to have,
it would be a
Nat-
really cool label.
You're talking about this one right here.
He'll be our first.
Yeah, the Natalie Bradford one. Shout out to Natalie Bradford. There we go.
Is that's a good idea. Skilbo.
Aw.
I'll have to get
That's
asked.
Dude, DOG is my favorite dog that you don't get to play with ever, but you get to see all the time. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
buddy.
Yeah. Nobody's
well, maybe
playing.
we can switch because he's driving me crazy today.
Yeah. There
I
you go.
love him so
We'll have to
much.
drop him off to
so
Skilbo.
much. You know me,
Oh,
but
shit.
he's been like right at me all day. Won't leave me alone.
She means whining and
Mm-hmm.
Following me.
following us around.
Yeah, I've got an Australian Shepherd Blue Heeler. It's about
Oh, nice.
Dude,
turns
you have.
turns 3 this year.
Hell yeah.
Come here, bud.
You know, I'll tell you what.
Oh,
Both of those
beautiful.
dogs, I love.
Oh yeah, we love dogs on the show.
Oh, he's a really
Oh,
good blend of
interesting.
both. I see a lot of
Nice.
the blue healer slash
Awesome.
Australian cattle
Oh,
dog
so
is what they're
nice.
also called. Yeah, that's a very ACD sort of behavior. I've had probably 4 or 5 of them that I've worked with through the years. They're fantastic. You never need a leash with them. That's for sure. Like
So
that dog's gonna hang
No,
out with
dude.
you and
So
they listen
cool.
from like super far away. Like you think that you're like a really good dog owner because you're like, I can call my dog from 150 yards away and he comes every time. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I maybe I leash walked him while we were like in town, but we go out for walks all the time, and this dude will run about 5-10 feet ahead of me, turn around, look at me, bark.
Run
As soon
around
as I
you.
get to him, he'll do the same thing, just clearing the path for me, making sure everything's good, you know.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
That's cute.
Hell yeah. This is a really cool dog.
And
That's
what's his
very
name?
awesome.
Aquino, it means rising sun.
Cool.
Hell yeah, man.
Hell yeah. I like
Adorable.
it. I like it. Yeah,
So tell
definitely
us
a bunch of dog
what's
people here.
what's something that you want to discuss, Cameron?
Something that I want to discuss.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
move on to
Um,
hard questions.
Let's see. We can dive a little deep if you want. A topic that's been mulling around the old noggin is mushrooms and the multiverse.
I was hoping I was gonna ask you about this because you were posting on it. So
Yeah.
man,
Can
I
we
like
get
it.
some aliens
like it.
and UFOs in the chat with some mushrooms, please? Let's
Yeah.
show our appreciation for the topic, guys.
So basically, and the multiverse theory was actually, I mean, wasn't made by him, but from what I can gather from his description of it, Neil deGrasse Tyson describes the little one eye abolished.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So he describes the multiverse, right, as our world, our universe is within a galaxy, right? Within that galaxy is a black hole. Within that black hole is a galaxy with a black hole and a galaxy and a black hole and a galaxy and a black hole and a galaxy. It's an infinite number of galaxies. And within those galaxies and universes, there is every single scenario that you could think of. From me to you to Abolish to Skilbo, everyone we've met, every decision we've made, every loss, every win, there is an opposite entity and universe revolving these things that are
Yes.
happening in real time right now.
Yes. Have you guys, before we do this, have you guys heard what the sound of a black hole is? Did you guys see this on Reddit or in the news?
You have a
Ooh,
sound?
no.
Dude. This is fucking crazy sound, man.
Oh no.
It is.
Not hearing anything.
Is it doing it?
What do you
It's the
think of that?
The silence is the black hole.
Nothing.
It's a sound of nothing.
It
Nothing.
just sounds like
I heard,
nothingness.
yeah, we heard nothing, but then there was a.
That's what it is.
There
That's
was
what it is.
something.
It's
there was like a
hold on. Fuck, how am I gonna do this? I gotta do a share screen. Let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, I can share your screen.
This is badass.
I'm gonna share your screen.
Let me see. I got to.
spotlight.
No, I have to do a share from my video. I have to go
Allow.
super fucking high. Let's see if I can do this super fucking high.
Okay.
Keep going, and I'll fucking get us there eventually.
While he's bringing that up on that topic, I actually seen something pretty cool today. Finally discovered a white hole, which is of course, the opposite of a black hole. And I thought it was pretty interesting that to actually enter a white hole, it would take all the energy in the entire universe. That's how much force it's actually pushing out.
wow.
Okay.
So it says pushing out energy.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Whoa.
I'll send the video in chat later. It was pretty cool.
Word. Yeah, that's very
Get
interesting.
this.
Maybe this is what's creating constant, continuous multiverses.
So the white hole does play an effect.
Can you hear that?
I don't know very much about the white hole, so I'm glad that this was brought up in general. But yes, the white hole does play a part along with the black hole.
That's what that sounds like. Did it come through that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going on all around us at all times.
At all times. Just
all times.
There's
Wild.
a lot,
constant, man.
of, lot of stuff going on. We don't
A lot
know
of
about.
honing.
It's really, it's one of those things my brain hasn't been able to grasp is space and all of the unknowns.
the
there.
scope of it?
Yeah.
No.
But maybe
you-
I just haven't dosed in that sense yet, like I haven't gotten there.
You're
where I
onto
can-
something.
Where I can see that.
You're onto something.
My brain can't get quite at it yet.
So we got the multiverse, which is like all of these simultaneous me's and you's and us's and things, and any possibility that's happening is happening. So where are we when we dose? Are we because I have my own theories of stuff, but it's even like more natural, like with dreaming and things.
Sure.
But yeah, I want to hear about the mushroom side.
So are you guys is everyone familiar with Baba Kalindi?
I am. I'm not sure if others are. Go
Just
ahead.
mention it in
and-
chat.
Yeah, go ahead and let our viewers know. if you don't
So
mind.
Kalindi, who has recently passed, R.I.P. Kalindi. He is a very, very influential psychonaut, very well respected in the psychedelic community.
Damn,
He's
it's
had
vicious.
he spoke at some of the biggest psychedelic conferences all over the world, not just in the United States, all over the world, and is a huge proponent for high dose psilocybin in the range of 40 to 50 grams. And these are what he calls the land of legends, the land that all the legends were written about, right? So basically when people were living in, the caveman time or, whatever time before civilization per se, we didn't know that what these things would do to us. We just needed food. We needed substance. And back in the day when we were walking around the field and find a mushroom the size of with a cap the size of a dinner plate, we didn't think to cut it up. We just ate the bitch. And so, I mean, we have, that's kind of where that began, right? And so we know, like we have been ingesting these compounds at high amounts since the beginning of time.
Well, the upper Paleolithic is the era that we're talking about, and one of the weirdest things is you can look on old cave paintings and things, and you will see little teeny mushrooms all over the place in these paintings that are being depicted. And the really cool part is that you see people that in these cave paintings will have mushrooms, and then they have what's called is it called a therianthrope, which is a combination of a person and an animal. So like a centaur would be one of these, right?
Yep.
And the idea is that they are showing in this picture the shaman who has ingested the mushrooms, and he is transforming from a man into this, bear. And so half of the body is morphed and shit. And you realize that these cave paintings and shit, they're in a cave. It's dark, bro. Like they have to go in there and paint these by fire and things like that. So yeah, man, it's something that we've used forever. There's also the idea that, I like to talk about the Eleusinian mysteries and how the idea of, what is soma, what was the active ingredient that they held this festival for 2,000 years. And there was this drink that you had, and you were only allowed to do this ceremony one time in your life as a citizen. You could never come back again. And that was that. So there has been a long standing,
Dude, the whole soma thing
symbiotic
is-
kind of relationship
is so
between
wild.
entheogens and mankind.
100%. It's definitely deeply engraved in human culture.
Yeah.
So Yeah. So basically, with
Hashtag.
with mushrooms, when you dive deep into this theory, we basically state that mushrooms, when we're in this psychedelic experience, a lot of people contribute synesthesia, being able to see sounds and feel colors, and right. They think like, oh, I was just tripping, right? No, not at all. This is a part of your existence, your experience in this existence on this plane. Your brain is firing neurons like crazy. Receptors are talking to different receptors in ways they normally don't. Our frontal cortex lobe, our all these things are being used in ways they aren't normally used. We're accessing parts of our brain that we don't normally access. So yes, in these trip states, we can access further information and see sounds and feel colors and all these things. That doesn't mean they're not happening. That means that in our normal state of perception, we cannot perceive them.
I've been there, man. I had a high dose of L25.
Yep.
It was a prolonged dose. It was like many high doses through the period of like 36 hours, 48 hours, something like that. And
yep.
And I was in that place long enough to understand exactly what you're talking about. And to the point where I started, my pupils were really big. And I was in this place while my pupils were really big. And then I started understanding, well, this must be what animals are always tuned into. And I'm thinking about cats and how giant their pupils are. And I'm like, cats must always be in this state of awareness where shit's always doing this, I don't know, like lucid tripping type of a thing.
Sure, yeah.
Anyway, please continue, because I know exactly where you're referencing from.
I will continue, but on a side note, I just want to say that one of the another cool things that I have been kind of into the idea of lately is how out of touch we've gotten with the world when we created civilization. There is, and I don't know how much this stands true, but I know at one point we didn't have language either. We just made noises, ooh, ah, There is something to be said about communicating with animals and how we can't do that anymore. I think we lost touch with the Earth Kingdom when we decided that we are man and we are civilization and we are above them. We lost our communication and our ability to connect with those around us. That's just a theory of my own. I have no idea. But yes, back to the of the high dose mushrooms in the multiverse. In these higher dose states, I believe that when we are talking to other entities, deities, people of past lives, these are not just, again, because of our tripping state. I believe that these are, with the use of mushrooms, a way to tap into the multiverse. And I think that could be potentially where epiphanies come from. It's because you have saw something you have done or have not done in this life in another universe. You've talked to someone who is dead in this universe, but is alive in that universe. And he's telling you it's going to be okay, or what to do next, or this or that. You're talking to someone who is truly alive in a different universe. So
that's intense to think about.
It's very, very intense. It's very intense, and it's very, very intense. It's blown my mind for the past week thinking about this.
I've had dreams. One particular one was a friend of mine was stealing from some roommates of mine and stealing from me. I hadn't talked to him in quite some time, year or so. Having an altercation with him in my sleep, in my dream, and I'm kind of telling him off, telling him how I
Sure.
feel. I hadn't really had the closure, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Hadn't heard from him in the better part of a year or anything like that. I'm kind of in this state of REM sleep, and I kind of come out of it and I'm like, this motherfucker, and I'm like, whoa, okay, whatever. And I kind of look at my phone, check the time. It's early. It's like 8:30 or something like that. All of a sudden a message pops through and he's messaging me to like grab coffee or something and talk about shit. I'm like, whoa.
Huh.
Super bizarre.
Yep. Yep.
Second one was in that
Very
same
Jungian.
house, same bed, same location. I'm having another really bizarre dream. I had thrifted a little like plant stand, right? But it was concave, small at the top. And I was like, oh, this is a cool ashtray. And being a smoker, I was going to be my front porch ashtray.
Sure.
We had a couch on the front porch. It was like it was a bachelor pad, a couch on the front porch style. I got my little ashtray out there. So I had like sand in it. I put sand in it and stuff.
Yep.
Well, it was out there for about 2 weeks or so. Having a dream where like it's really windy and shit's being blown off of my porch and there's sand flying all over my face. And I'm like Wizard of Oz style, like Dorothy flying by, and I'm grabbing this thing, but I can't grab this. This thing flies off my porch, and sand goes, yeah, exactly. Sand goes flying everywhere. I go to work and do the shit and I come back and I'm like, something's missing off the porch. Why the fuck is there sand everywhere? There's sand blowing all over my fucking porch, and that fucking thing was gone. Ripper took that, scrapper took it, super wild, man. It was like that day, but I could keep going about these stories, but it'll take up the entire, like I have these stories all the fucking time that happen while I'm dreaming, and it like taps into now. And we just had a super weird one where I've been constantly saying, if you build it, they will come. Like just trying to have this like positive outlook on like all of the grind that we're doing, if you build it, they will come type of shit. And we've been scheduled to go to this homesteading festival just to attend. We're going to attend this homesteading festival, and what's his name's actually headlining. Kevin Costner's headlining this motherfucker.
What? How does he tie into this fucking shit?
I can't make, because Kevin Costner
is he tapping into his water world fucking experiences?
If you
or
build
mailman?
it, they will come. If
Or
you build
postman,
it, they
whatever
will
it was called.
come. No, Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
I've been quoting this Field of Dreams thing for like fucking 6 months or whatever.
Becca, what's that other word that he was stuck on for that whole show?
Clandestine.
Clandestine.
Yeah, we got Uncle Rick on the
Shout out
game
Uncle
with
Rick.
that.
Yeah, I heard him. Uncle Rick's been using the old word. Yeah, but dude, there's just seems to be like, whether it's serendipitous occurrences or synchronicities or whatever they are, I like to think that it is this multiverse, and that we are constantly tapping into it in one way or another, exchanging realities, this whole thing. And I most certainly do I can agree, or at least understand where you're going with, where you can kind of tap into these with dosing, or
I don't know. I always liked it where there's a difference between using L25 and using psilocybin. So like psilocybin for me is always a teacher, and we can think about some heavy shit, and we can get some perspective on things. And there's like I don't know, it's like assigning an inner voice of your own that you don't ever really let loose, and ascribing that voice to the mushroom, and then not really being able to lie to yourself about things. So you get that growth. And I think that's what some people they're afraid of. Everybody wants to see pretty colors. Everybody wants to have a permagrin, but not everybody wants to do the work to have
shadow
the
work is
healing.
the hardest, man.
Dude, that's, there was an article, there's been articles for years, but I constantly blow up the polarity science chat with news every day on all these different things and tests, and they're saying that now if you have a guided higher non-microdose of something like psilocybin, that they were seeing for people with PTSD and long-term depression, that they were even getting results with just that, instead of the other method, which have been more recommended to pass along to people, which is to try to microdose these things and to try to have a long-term release rather than one large release. But the fact that they're even doing that kind of testing and it's being spoken about is going to help start to break down some of these walls so that our test kits aren't fucking illegal, so that we can actually share, and so that you could actually be, like a trip sitter / guide. I don't like the idea of just a trip sitter, because I always think of somebody that's like waiting for like a bug net for you, like, okay, settle down. But then it's not really what that is. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, don't let me jump out the window. No, that's not what it is at all. It's helped me work through my challenging parts,
Yes. Yep. I don't want to sound cliche, but it's the person that's just like, okay, well, but how does that make you feel? Because it's really therapy. Like
you have to do the work.
Yes. 100%. The psychedelics will only lead you to the door. You have got to walk through it. And sometimes there's a lock and you got to figure out the combination.
That's where I like to talk about integration a lot. Where what 100%. Are you actually doing after the experience?
Are you journaling? Are you taking
the
time
day
for
after,
yourself?
the week after, the month after? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, I still rave about a trip that I had fucking almost 29 years ago. I still rave about it. You know what I mean? Like, it was that kind of an experience, and it really, really propelled me into becoming the Skilbo that people know and love. And that's not me trying to make a funny ass crack or self-deprecating or anything like that. It's just that one experience was enough to, was after I was getting out of the army, and you know what I mean? That's a completely different mindset that you have.
Yep.
Than the person that I am today.
For sure.
I will make a slight disclaimer, since we are talking about these higher echelon doses and we're talking about, reaching this other side and things like that. As Skilbo always says, mileage may vary.
Absolutely, man.
And we're talking about doses for more experienced travelers, for lack of a better term,
28
I suppose.
years.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of the problem. And that's kind of one of the problems right now is people that have never taken it and are now getting it from their everyday dealer. And one thing I want to touch on just before I even get into that topic is, like, when I talk about, like, because I actually just had a conversation with one of the vendors at Spread the Spores, and he was like, there's like this movement to like make like cannabis growers not able to grow mushrooms. No. Please do not get me wrong. I am a cannabis grower. I've been a caregiver for 10 years. That is not what we're saying. We're talking about the middlemen, the trappers, the repackers, the people that buy from the growers and don't even grow themselves and probably can't tell you what cultivar it is, how much to take, what the effects are going to be. That's a problem. That's the problem. So I just wanted to, as a disclaimer, I wanted to just say that's the problem we have.
Let me dovetail right along with that then.
Yeah.
The point would be this, is we have people coming online literally every single day. Someone just heard about psilocybin and microdosing an hour ago, 3 hours ago, a day ago, 2 weeks ago. When those people are finally able to source and come to it, you want to ensure that you don't scare them off of this fantastic tool in the toolbox for your mental health, man. I shared something the other day, was talking about the drug that kills people's empathy, and it's in 600. It's an ingredient in 600 different medications. So you're like, holy shit, what the fuck is it, right? And you read that it's acetaminophen. So think about this. Think of how many things
makes you not give a shit.
Think of this. This article was from 2016. This wasn't a new article. It just happened to come across my readings. And it's so you really have to just, don't limit yourself. Just don't limit yourself. Don't say I am broken, or I am damaged, or I am fucked up, or I am irredeemable. Don't do that. You've got too many other tools available to you to try to do the work to be able to get to where you want to be.
Truth is, most of us have been misinformed our whole lives.
Absolutely. The propaganda runs deep. Still does. That's why that fucking kit is deemed paraphernalia and illegal.
Right. 100%.
Yep. Yep.
100%.
And we take acetaminophen for a lot of things, and but that turns us into according to a study, a non-empathetic people who probably cut people off in traffic and shit like that. It's whether or not that's causing that particular behavior. It could be a trigger. Maybe it's part of those triggering substances that cause like high sugar, and salt and all of that kind of stuff that leads to poor mental health. It's just another substance that leads to poor mental health. MSG, right?
Fucking MSG is in everything, dude. Everything.
I'm pretty sure that's just salt, and it was.
Tell me why I thought of Uncle Roger as soon as you said that. Is anyone familiar with Uncle Roger?
No,
just
Mr.
That? Rogers, though.
He's just,
your sweater on.
He's just a YouTube star. He's an Asian YouTube star that really loves MSG.
Oh jeez. Oh man.
I think it was like a thing that the states designed so that, like, a racist thing deep down.
I would not doubt that. Wouldn't doubt it at all.
There's more legislation than you'd think on that.
Like,
I mean, look at the whole naming of fucking marijuana in the first place. That's that's our first toe in the water of, hey, something is wrong. Something is propaganda.
I read a theory, and I didn't read a theory. I actually heard this from Max Montrose during that class. One of the ways that I've heard so many ways of how cannabis got its name, but one of it was obviously marijuana, right? So it was the Americans going on to the conquistadors and the Spanish territory and trying to take over. And when they took over, they said, you can't grow this plant. Like, this is not, it's not legal. They said, this plant? What do you mean? This is from our mother Mary. This is the marijuana. And it was actually, they described it as Mother Mary's plant, and it was part of their religion. And so they had to be allowed to grow this. The Americans couldn't come in and tell us that we cannot grow this. This is part of who we are.
Damn. I've been listening to a lot of Carlos Castaneda lately, and it's talking about using peyote. And so we can go back into your multiverse with that. There's just so many different tools that we can use to get where you want to go. That just don't treat them all equally. Don't think that they're all exactly the same, and don't think because you have a high tolerance to one thing that you'll quickly develop one to the other. Everything has to start off at its very lowest for you, but that also stretches your stash, man. If you're finally able to source something, if you can do a little less to get a little more.
Absolutely.
When you guys are talking about multiverse, is that similar to like Bardo's? I mean, I've only been on my psychedelic healing journey for just over a year now, and I'm like,
this shit blew you away, though.
Yeah, I'm trying to decipher these journeys I go on, and is it a multiverse, or are these the Bardos? Like, is that more like a real thing to go on? Like, I don't get it. Are they similar?
Someone fill me in on Bardos.
It's from the Tibetan Book of the Dead, right?
Bardos are the different. Yeah, those are different levels of. I don't want to say maybe existence or different levels of. I don't know. They're different levels. Planes, yeah, they're different levels that you achieve.
Oh, yeah. I am familiar with that. Okay, yeah. I think it would be a bit different. Someone also mentioned the continuum mirror theory. Which
I don't know what that is. I got to hear about it now.
I didn't know. I don't necessarily know about it either. But from what I gather, it's multiple. It's kind of the same thing as the multiverse. It's multiple universes, but it's a continual mirror image of ours. So it's like there's a bad Cameron and a bad Polar and
now
bad
this
skill.
is what I believe in.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because somewhere out there is a completely different you. If you have an infinite universe,
yep.
Yeah.
And there's only, I mean, you can say that there's an infinite amount of DNA possibilities, but there's going to be some overlap somewhere.
Has to be.
Even if it's not like a physical place, that like the infinite universes, the multiverse could exist within your own
Bingo.
head, you know, like it can just go that way. And it's more like you're trying to harness that. You know,
like,
has anybody ever seen the picture of it's like a really old painting, and there's a guy that is reaching down and he's pulling up the corner of this thing, and it's all the stars out there. And he's the guy on the planet. You know what I'm talking about, Red?
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking is you know how like DNA structured double helixes. Imagine it just double helixing through time, and you are one of those, and the person that you're talking to is another one of those, and you're just kind of realities double helixing through time, and everybody that you see, your vision is just continuously double helix. You're creating
Sounds like a hell of a
your
drums
own,
in space, Red.
yeah,
We
you're
got to go
creating
out
your-
there on it, man.
You're on your own like path, you know what I mean? But like there's always like you know, ripples in the water, if you will, that like, you know, change the path, and those are
Dark Star. How many other
other
Grateful Dead songs can we
people,
use right now?
things, whatever it might be. Yeah, we can keep going.
I've been to so many DSO shows.
Are you going to the show next month?
Well, where's it at next month?
It's going to be
Dead
at
and
Pine Knob
Company's at Pine
on
Knob.
June 29th.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
Mm,
We will be there.
I will be back from California. I might just have to hit that.
Hell yeah, man.
Beck and I are trying to hit a run because it's talks that this might be their last
Oh,
tour.
really?
You going to do
Man,
Cincinnati
they've been
too?
going for like 7 years.
Or
strong,
Wrigley?
man.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know about Wrigley. I've done Wrigley. It's fun, but it's also Wrigley, and it's hectic and chaotic. And
The traffic
Wrigley,
for Chicago.
Is that in Wrigley's in
Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah.
Was
it's
that
a
where the
fun
50th
time,
shows
man.
were?
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
I think
that's
it
the
was
only
at
time I've been to Wrigley.
It was either Wrigley or it was the other ballpark that's down there, but it might have been the other ballpark actually. But I went and saw them in 2017, I think, at Wrigley. They do dual show, 2-night shows, and I mean it's fun, dude. It's a blast. It's not the same as there being like a parking lot in like that type of experience because it's a downtown city event, so there's not really a shakedown street. There's cops everywhere. Like it's, you know, it's that type of an event. But stadium seating is weird too because everybody's trying to noodle and, you know.
Yeah, I
shit
get that.
everywhere.
It's hard to dance.
It's like no seating, you know, it's super steep. So yeah, it's real hard to dance, and spinner crowd doesn't have their section, you know, so it's just
Sure.
Somebody's going to get hula hooped in the back of their head.
I went to the Dear Jerry concert.
Oh my God, that's such a great fucking album, dude.
I actually have the poster here, so let me get the information.
Hell yeah.
At the Meriwether Post Pavilion 2015.
Cool.
That was a phenomenal show. I mean, the original fucking Hell's Angels were there, dude. Like,
not really.
Yeah, dude.
Family shows up, man. That's
dude. It was literally everyone, and if you knew Jerry whatsoever, like within that scene, like you were there. Like the original Hell's Angels, Government Mule, like pretty much all of the Allman Brothers there were there.
They shout out to the Almonds.
Yeah, dude. They played separate sets.
That would have probably been Greg's last year playing.
Yes.
If Greg was there, that would have been his last year playing.
Dude, like I'm trying to see if I can even. I don't know how to do this.
Spin it around.
I have no idea how to spin this around.
Or to Peach Fest 2015.
There we go.
Oh, and I'm all fucking. I can't.
It won't do it. It's too smart.
Yeah, it's too
dude,
smart.
I dig that checkerboard, man. That's fucking
poster. Poke it a few more times. It'll go.
God.
It doesn't want to work with us, man. I was gonna go grab my Dead and Company one. The one we got from the show we went to last year was dope because they are blacklight posters. So they look really sweet. Yeah, man. That's the cover that they used for the album right there.
Hell yeah. Cool. Oh, dope.
There's some Phil Lesh on there. It's really good.
Oh man, that's so cool.
We just watched
I think that's
rewatched, but the documentary about them on Amazon Prime.
Which one's that?
The
Long Strange Strip. Is that the one?
or
Long Strange
something.
Strip.
Was that
It
on Prime?
was-
Oh shit, I didn't know.
yeah, it
It's
was
on YouTube.
for
Oh, I dig
me,
that one,
not
too.
knowing as much, I really liked it.
Oh,
Hell
Like
yeah.
a lot. I was like
That's
crying at
cool.
the end.
Hell yeah, man. That's a sick fucking
Sad
poster
story,
right there.
man. It's a
It
rough
ended-
downhill.
It ended
So
pretty.
I mean, they're not lying in 89, all downhill from here. Alpine
Yeah.
89. It's all downhill from here, man. They're not lying. That was peak prime, dude, at the end of the Brent Midland era.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure. It's my favorite jams, dude. They're fucking
You do like that era. You think 89 Dead is like
it's that B3,
your
dude.
that's your
that
vibe
Hammond.
Dead.
It's that Hammond and Brent's fucking voice, dude. Brent threw a
Like,
little
slapped.
Oh,
he brought him back into
he was my
this
favorite
existence.
keyboardist, bro. Favorite keyboardist. So much energy.
Tons
Probably
of
could do
energy, man.
speedballing half the time, but
Yeah,
I still like, dude, Brent. Oh, I can't think of the song he sang a couple songs, obviously, but just
Blow
that
Away,
voice,
maybe?
dude.
Blow Away.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, Blow Away is
so
what really turned me
beautiful.
on to him too.
so
Yeah.
beautiful, man.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge Pigpen fan, man. I really love the Pigpen days because Pigpen's got his own fucking songs, and they don't play those songs, man.
No.
No.
Not a tribute. They just don't play those songs. And I was two hearts in communion, two souls in communion. Some like fucking tastic Pigpen song, dude. It's such a good song. He's hella bluesy, you know, and they changed after he passed, you know, and they
Sure.
went into their
Absolutely,
own
they
era.
did.
A lot of people love the 70s, man. A lot of
That's
people really like
me,
that.
man. I am that
You
1977,
like that Donna, dude? I'm
72.
the dude in the back.
No,
Shut
no,
up, Donna.
No. I pick my versions that are on my playlist based upon how carried away she gets. Like I found some really rad estimated profits, and playing in the bands are especially hard. Playing in the band,
dude.
you have to find one where she wasn't there at that show.
There's
You
a
can get
good
really
looks
good
like
one.
rain with her. She in like 77. She was
2, 3,
finally
78. Go back
right,
and listen
right
to 2, 3,
before
78.
they kicked him out of the band. She was finally catching in and having
like
some
dude, you just wrecked that playing in the band
Yeah,
version, man.
yeah.
And but you know, I'm
It's
really
like
a big
Yoko
fan
Ono
of
in the
like
background
Dark
screeching.
Star, and she doesn't have a part in Dark Star, so you can jam any one of those you want.
Has anyone been to the Dark Star Jubilee?
No, what is
No,
that?
dude. Captain 420 another huge part
Cheers,
of our
Delta Nine.
community. We talk to him about Death Star all the time, but he's always huge into that.
Oh,
scene.
Robert, yeah.
Robert. He's
Word.
surprised I
Yeah,
haven't seen him in
I
chat
went.
yet.
I went to the very first Dark Star Jubilee, and then I went to the like 3 years in a row. I went to it. Phenomenal time. Just a big Deadhead gathering. DSO plays all 3 nights. Where was I going with this? Oh, so Donna and her band was there the second year, and I just remember I was in deep at this point in time. Let me tell you,
I bet at one of those shows.
It's going
holy
on
shit.
hard.
the lights were like swirling right, and
Family
I'm trying
presence.
to like see past the lights because I was like, oh man, like it was just so like intense. And I finally make it past the lights, and what do I see? Yo, this girl's just like spinning on the stage, and she spun for like 3 minutes straight. I was like, you're making me dizzy, girl.
Was it Donna or just a different girl?
Yeah, no, it was Donna. It was Donna.
It was Donna spinning.
She just
Oh
kept
man.
spinning like it was like
Going.
she kept spinning, going like the. I was like, oh my god.
Too much.
I didn't know what was going on for a second, bro.
Yeah, dude. She yeah, the playing in the band one.
That's the one, man.
That one, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Here in the background. She does good though, man. There's like I said, I kind of dig her collaboration on some Looks Like Rain. And
But you know, the thing is that band always kept changing. People came and people left, and you know,
Yeah,
like a lot of
dude.
people give Dead
Oh.
Company shit, and they're like, "Well, it's not the Dead."
when
Well, hold
when
on,
they
dude.
would
Like,
bring
they've
in the
added a whole bunch
saxophone
of people and
player,
shit. Yeah,
what was the saxophone player's name? Fuck, dude. I would have to.
Marcellus.
Yes, Marcellus. They brought him in and like maybe a Fillmore Fillmore show or something like that. And dude, he came in and somewhere in the second set.
Is it
all
like
of a sudden-
91, I think, when that's around?
Yeah, I think it's 91. It was right at the end of Brent's maybe it was 90 if that was the case. I feel like Brent was on the show too. Dude, I mean, it's got to be my favorite show, period, because that that saxophone just fucking kills it. I think they do an estimated profit with it and stuff. And it's just
Like, you know what you're listening to tomorrow.
good, man. I'll find it. I'll share it with you guys. It's really good.
Please do.
Because
Please
like
do.
it's like somewhere in the second set, it just all of a sudden kicks in. Like you need to be listening to the whole thing. Like yeah,
Second set's more psychedelic.
it
The
always is,
second
man.
set is
After
where
drums
all
and
my
space.
favorite jams are.
Oh God, yeah. They ease you into it, and then that second set, it's all in, man.
They know
really
people are
is.
still coming in from the lot, you know.
When I first saw
Sure,
them,
yeah. Yeah.
yep, they did a tease. They did a tease of like playing, and they did a playing in the band before the second set, right? And then they did like a drums in space, and then they came back and did a playing in the band reprise. And I wasn't even that high on psychedelics, and I was like a little bit high on psychedelics, but I was like, holy shit, they just threw a deja vu. If I was like on mushrooms or something, I would like all of a sudden be back in the first set. I would have been like, shit, did this show? Are we still in the fucking third song? Holy shit,
Red,
what the hell just
I've
happened?
got there's
Man,
a
the music
version.
never stops, man. The music never stops.
They loop you.
But
I
the
have
band's
like
all packed and gone.
I love
50
that.
different versions of Dark Star that I've saved, and I'm like, oh, I love this version versus that version. And there's one that I have that in the middle of it, when they really get on like the gong and shit, there's a guy that's, you know, like in the taper section, and you can hear this guy go, whoa, just like blown the fuck out. You know, like the gong is ringing out.
Whoa.
Yes, dude. So
Oh my god.
at the Grateful Dead shows, you actually get to go back in time. You know that's Mickey Hart has been perfecting time travel with that fucking bass drum.
beam?
With the beam. With that bass guitar. Mickey Hart has a bass guitar that he invented that is like of such low fucking octave that it like
Dude, at
boils
Pine
your
Knob, that shit
chest
was ringing us, man.
in the back of fucking like it doesn't matter where you are. These guys worked with Owsley Stanley, man. Owsley Stanley, like the Wall of Sound was no joke. Like he took like the height of the bass wave, which was like 32 feet. They made sure that Phil Lush's speakers were 32 feet off the ground and like could project
Soaking
a
you in
32-foot wave. Yeah, like the Wall of Sound was like precisely engineered to like the size of waves of sound to like traverse a mile. I think that
I don't think people understood that, dude. I think people were like, oh, that's really cool. It's a bunch of speakers.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
You can make it
dude.
louder.
Yeah, it was engineered to traverse precisely a mile, you know, to the human ear. And
wild.
Owsley Stanley was fucking genius on
They
it,
would
dude.
take it down every day, up and down.
Up and down every fucking day, man.
Yeah,
I
their
think it-
crew, bro. My God.
They were wild.
You had
We
to
were
be.
watching and they were talking about how they were just so unprofessional and nobody wanted to work with them, and they were just hilarious.
Kazu,
just
you know we're talking about
jokesters.
time travel. It's the second half of this show.
They were talking about though during the acid test before the Wall of Sound that
Yeah.
they could. Bobby was talking about how he would be playing and he would see the music starting to go and he had to keep playing and just figured out how to see the music and play with
Yep.
it. So fucking
Yep.
cool. Insane.
Yeah, so that sounds like they were tapping into this like a multiverse in their own way. And you know, the way that they did it, I really do think that them being involved with the psychedelics had the psychedelics themselves, and you know, that whole like love that is behind psychedelics, the togetherness that, you know, that the community that it creates and everything. I think that had a lot to do with their overall success. I mean, granted, they're on the road all the
music
time
unites
and
people, man.
doing it, but it is, man. They didn't worry about sales. They didn't worry about appearance. They had the manager from like the Rolling Stones working with them for like between 72 and like 76, and he eventually bailed because they wouldn't Like
They wouldn't make an album. So there's like a whole
Yeah,
album's
they
worth
wouldn't
of
do
shit, like
shit.
Estimated Profit.
they
And,
didn't want to take photos. Go ahead, Skilbo.
yeah. Well, there's a whole series of songs that they've performed. The only way that you'll find those is if you pick a date and figure out like, okay, I really like this song. So then you type it in and you can use like the Wayback Machine or archive.org. You type it in, they have every single show. So then you can find which version of the show that you like that has your song in it, man.
I love archives.
I've been
I've
using this
found
thing
so
where I
many great
listen to,
shows.
that's how I was listening this morning and I shared it with them, the show from 5577. It's the Cornell show. And there's like a Scarlet Begonias, there's a Hell of a Birthday in there, there's an Estimated Profit, and you find like, man, these songs, like they run into each other. So like the transition from like Scarlet Begonias to Fire in the Mountain is just some pretty ass
Dude,
guitar
Scarlet
solo,
Fire,
man. Yeah.
absolutely, dude. The blend is so clean but when the second song starts, I'm always mind blown. And if they go back too, if they go like say they kind of go from song to song and then like finish out the first song.
Dark Star, El Paso,
awesome,
Dark
dude.
Star.
Yes,
dude. Yeah, they did Dark Star 1. They did the first half of Dark Star night 1 at Wrigley, and then finished Dark Star night 2 at Wrigley.
What?
That
They
was
didn't even finish it in that show?
that
me
was
up.
fucking
Wow.
cool. Yeah, I just remembered that one. They did a Terrapin Station too on one of those nights. Those are good ones to see.
Lady with
if
a
you can
Fan.
catch. Yeah, if you can catch those ones, man, those are.
Oh,
fucking
and it
awesome
all
shows.
exists because they let people record their shows and they
Why?
collected them,
Yup.
and that's why you got archive.org.
Yup.
Music is free.
If
God,
They
you're
said you
born,
paid
God,
for
I
it when
love
you
the
came
dead,
for it.
dude.
You already
You
bought
did,
the
man.
show.
Yeah,
They
You already
just
got your
didn't
payment.
It's
want
yours.
to like have to deal with the people recording. They were like, whatever, I don't want to deal
Just
with
do
it.
it,
Let them
yeah.
just do it.
I think.
Yeah,
they're
I have
they're
a lot. I have got a
managers.
lot of friends that have old dead cassettes
I'd
from
love to
shows
come
that
across
they've
some
been to
dead
and
good
shit.
sets.
Yeah.
Like they inherit them from their older brother or their uncle, give them like 32 different dead tapes, and they try to figure
Right.
out, like, holy
Right.
shit,
Love that,
man.
dude. That's cool. Those exist. If you're born somewhere between 1965 and 1995, I look up my birthday on archive.org and see if there's a show.
See if there's a show. Well, there's gonna be.
There's a show
yeah,
on my
man.
birthday. Yeah.
There's a show on my birthday this year,
Yep.
and I
Oh,
get
like
to go.
the day that I was born, on that good old day that mama sat down and cried. There's one on my birth date of the year 1985, which is a fun show. It's a fucking fun show. And then I'll go through and then I'll see, all right, these are the songs that were being played when I came into this existence. You know what I mean? And then I try to like
Trying to figure out what song was
like,
playing.
astrologically map up
Red,
like
you know
the
what it
Grateful
was?
Dead's
There was probably like New
tour
Speedway
list.
Boogie or something for you was
Yeah,
what was
yeah,
playing when
dude.
you came through.
When
you broke the veil.
There's a whole life story, I think, that sets inside that.
Like I said,
It's a whole life story. It's cool though, because they take you through a trip, man. They really do. It's like, they give you a come up, they hit you with that like drum and space heavy peak, they give you that like ego death, then they kind of almost give you that little bit of a afterglow on the tail end of their show. They really do, man. They make sure that it's a good solid like 3 hours long so you can really enjoy the ride. It's good. They do a good job, man.
We've talked about the Dead for a long fucking
Fuck yeah,
time.
dude, haven't we?
We've got a great guest.
Talk about
Sorry,
the Dead
guys.
all night. This entire podcast could have been about the Dead.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
for
what
real, it
happens
really
when
could have
a
been.
bunch of deadheads
Well,
gather.
Well, one thing that I actually really enjoy about them, and I actually think, Skilbo, you mentioned this earlier in the podcast, that the difference between like acid and mushrooms, right? For me, mushrooms have always been more of an introspective channeling and a message.
Yeah.
Like I said, that inner monologue that I can't lie to myself and just I got to figure things out from within, right? Where acid has always been outrospective. What the hell is
extrospect?
right? What the hell is that word?
The other one.
I don't know. Yeah,
the other one.
polar
Acid has always
opposite.
been the other one for me.
You have the
Not to say it was
microcosm
like
and the
a
macrocosm.
Party. It wasn't like a party thing for me, though. You can definitely party on acid. but it was definitely more of like an outer thing. I wasn't connected more so with myself, but being outer, one thing good with the acid tests and what it really did was show the power of what these compounds could do when everyone has ingested them in a given area. The connections and yeah, dude, the perceptions and the emotions you felt.
Telekinesis.
Everyone in that room was on the same level. And
Yeah.
that, I think that was the test of it all. You know what I mean? Just to see what emotions and what we could get this entire room to feel collectively.
Mhm.
I'm sure that band was playing off that collective consciousness of the crowd, you know, like whatever
100%.
energy was
Well,
going
we had
off of that was
microdosed
going
Al,
through them
you know
right
what
off
I
the
mean?
strings.
Mhm.
Yep. And that's what it is, man. I mean, it's all an energy wavelength, you know, and it's being generated by the crowd, and then it's going through the musicians' hands and
It's just
out.
everybody is vibing
Speakers.
together, and
Yeah.
they're, you know what I mean? They're
Music is just
Super
another
cool.
form of integration, man. Just another tool we can use.
I don't know too many stoners that aren't big on music. Like I've made jokes for years about, you know, please don't be a psychopath that drives around with the only sound in your car is the sound of the fucking turn signals or something. Like, don't be that person. Please play some music. Please
Spent a
get
lot of
yourself
years
in the right
doing that.
headspace. Find your right radio station in your mind. Put yourself there if you're not.
Spent a lot of years in silence, that's for sure.
Sometimes there's a lot of stuff going on in regular life, but the car is a nice little quiet ride like that.
My little getaway from in between point A and point B.
Yep.
Okay, this guy right here has always got you, like somebody is talking about something, and then there's always music, a show playing, and then he's like, it's always multiple things at once. Like the
Like-
car is sometimes my
so much
safe
stimulus.
space.
A little bit much.
So much stimulus going on. It's like I'll have like 3 different shows playing at the same time on like one device.
Some Chong
That's-
shit.
That's some too
Another-
much shit.
yeah,
And then, like,
Another
Instagram.
device going, and then
Whoa.
Alexa playing music, or like, oh shit,
Oh, don't do it.
don't say it. So yeah, dude, it's just way too much stimulus. I got rid of the TV.
I like that
about
you guys
a couple
forgot that
years
you had
ago.
headphones on there. You're at that point of highness that you had to look and like, oh no, hope we didn't get it too loud.
Well, she can still hear me if I talk.
Super
Still said it.
sensitive,
I say she like it's you know.
sentient being.
Yeah.
Alexa
Real
is the
thing.
DMT
Oh.
being.
Damn things, dude. So I had a question for you real quick, and I think I already lost it.
Real quick.
Yeah.
It was a quickie.
Oh man.
We got 18 minutes left, Red. You know this will run us out.
Yeah, it was about getting over to the other side at some point. Let's see here.
Breath work can help you.
Focusing on.
And you mentioned shadow work also. Do you want to run
Yes.
us through maybe both of those for a moment?
Yeah. 100%.
That'd be great.
So shadow work is the idea of your unconscious mind working on healing inner turmoil, trauma that you've suppressed. It could potentially even be personality traits that you find unwelcoming. It's things that you just don't like about yourself, or things that you've suppressed, and things that you know, like I said, trauma is one of the biggest things, and being able
PTSD.
to work on that, we call it shadow work because it's not light, it's the bad within us. It's the things we want to forget, we want to suppress, and we want to just, shut them to the side, but that doesn't help us. And especially in times of psychedelics and stuff, those things come back tenfold. They hit you right in the face and say, hey, you didn't want to work on us. Now we're going to make you work on us.
Bad trip causers.
I'm back.
So
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
doing the shadow work before, understanding these feelings, accepting these feelings, and understanding how to work with these feelings.
I see. I find that now I've had a lot of challenging experiences. That's the nice term or verbiage for bad trips.
Sure.
In my day, I've had the good old bad trip where you're just thinking too much. I've had the bad trip where you just like feel claustrophobic, and then I've had that bad trip where you don't think you're coming back.
Yep.
So I've had a different array of these bad trips. Most of it is that introversion, and most of it was that from psilocybin and that like I feel that exact same way, where it's much more of a inward thinking. And these were times where I wasn't doing shadow work at all. I wasn't thinking of of how this one moment in my past was going to affect my thought process going into this. Sometimes it's just, when I was a student, or I was a college student, it would be like, I have a test due and I'm taking drugs, so I'm like, I'm irresponsible, and like that would go down this wormhole stuff. But at the same time, I wasn't going into it thinking properly. Oh, I'm going into it with a purpose. No, I didn't really have a purpose. My purpose was, I'm gonna, Saturday night, get high type thing. So, that's very, very easy waters for like bad trips and things like that, especially when you have a lot
The
going
unprotected mind.
Yeah. And you have Nancy Reagan in your ear saying drugs are bad, which is, the same as like your parents saying drugs are bad. And then now you have this like guilt trip going, and the feelings of guilt while you're tripping, I think, are the very
terrible.
challenging parts is guilt,
Yep.
Guilt is a heavy emotion.
But mushrooms can also help you have empathy for yourself. And I don't think people talk about this shit enough, because we always talk about empathy as like me being able to put myself in your shoes, or to be able to see things from your vantage point. But then we're like super hypercritical of ourselves and what we see as our failures. And so we can get into some really, really wicked, like inner dialogue issues with ourselves. And that shit will beat you the fuck down, man. It can actually like program your thinking and your emotional responses. And that's what's leading you into using psychedelics or trying to dabble with them to figure out, man, I just want to feel okay. I just don't want to feel like this anymore. And maybe this is the way that I can find some relief. Maybe I can use it to shift my perspective. I've always said I've tried to be a silver linings kind of person. And in order to do that, I think one of the things I have to reveal about it is you have to have some really fucking dark times, man, to be able to find those silver linings and go, hey, man, you know what? I'm really not happy with how things, are going right now. But okay, cool. We can do something about this. The silver lining is I am better than I was yesterday. And hopefully, if I make the right choices tonight or tomorrow, I'll have an even better next week. And it's a slow, gradual thing. It's not like I took an eighth of mushrooms and I'm all cured. That's not realistic, and that's not good advice. That's not how things are going to work for you, more than likely. But you have to put in, as you're saying, the shadow work, Cameron.
Absolutely, man. I as some of you may know, I'm getting out of a relationship currently. And so, for the past 4 years, I've been sleeping next to someone. I've had them by my side, and I almost use them as my warmth. And so I had a really hard time sleeping. I tried sleeping on the couch, and that just wasn't comfy. And so I just wouldn't sleep for probably a good 2 weeks. I was really like out of it just because I couldn't sleep. And so I started microdosing more so at night, and it really helped me accept the fact that I'm going to be okay. And I was able to sleep in my own bed again and almost start to create my own warmth again. The bed felt cold, before, and now I'm beginning to be okay with myself again. I'm rediscovering myself again. And so that can be a very beautiful, beautiful thing.
It's letting go of expectations too.
Yep.
What you think you need, and who you think you are, and where you think you're headed. What are your expectations on that? Because we can go back to that negative thinking again. If I've got expectations that the bed should be warm, or that I shouldn't be anything, because I'm not. If I should have been, I would have been. And since I'm not, then it's a non-issue. So we've got to try to get right with where we're at right now. Like shit as it is today, not as it was 5 years ago, or how it could be in 5 more minutes or 5 more years. You don't know. So you've got to just live what you can live right now and do the best that you can, even if you do feel shitty and even if you do carry around a lot of guilt. It's okay. You can work through that shit. And so again, I just want to say that that's why I love the direction that things are going with the partnership between all of these different groups, and the community at large, trying to actually create this conversation for people so that we can talk about this shit and we can get different perspectives and we can go, oh my God, I didn't know that I could get a reagent kit. And I didn't know that they were also potentially, you know, seen as paraphernalia. Just conversation, man. So I just want to say before we get like 10 minutes left, but Cameron, really, really appreciate you coming through, dude. And I love what you've done with Spread the Spores. And I can't wait to be able to attend one in the very near future again.
Yeah, like I said, thank you guys for having me
It's
on.
huge,
I
man.
definitely have plans for more once I get back from California. I'm gonna take a little break. I do have something in the works. I'm trying not to like give too much information about it. But August, I am doing a 2-day event. So
Awesome.
I would love that.
Yeah,
Love to
man.
have you guys out there for that.
Can we get a regional area of the state? Would it be
Litchfield, Michigan?
Litchfield.
Here's me with my shitty Michigan
Yeah,
geography.
me too.
me and
Like,
me and Uncle Rick, man, we're cut
figure
from the
that one
same
out.
cloth in the same
Yeah,
era.
it'll be
Becca's already on it.
Litchfield, Michigan.
Dude, it really is huge, man. The access for this. I have been microdosing regularly for a couple of years, and I'm the type I've kind of been a fatalist for a long time. You know what I mean? Like I was just like, and not so much like, oh, life is a meaningless misery. Not that bad. I've always been incredibly positive, but nonetheless, like you can't help but think about aging. You can't help but think about, you know, family members aging and all of that other stuff. You know, you just can't help it. You know, it's there.
Silver linings.
But then, right. But then at the same time, the microdosing has taught me to learn that you just can't help it. Like there's nothing you can do about any of that kind of shit. And it was
Appreciate
all
it
this
now.
living in the moment. Right. And it takes a lot of listening to these gurus. Like you're listening to Castanava
Carlos Castaneda.
right now. I've been listening to a decent amount of like Watts and Ram Dass and some stuff.
I'm
like
always
that.
a big Terrence McKenna guy.
And McKenna for all the time, you know, and just
Alan
like
Watts.
you know, but like the mindfulness thing and like the here and the now and like what's really happening now and like worrying about the future is like until you're there's really nothing you can do. And if you can do something about it and change whatever the hell's going on, then you should probably do something about it, because then you won't be in such a bad state. So, you know, I try to do that. You know, if I try to change it, and if I can't change it, then you know, it is what it is type of an attitude if I can, and work through it the best I can.
That's the secret, man.
positively
Accept what you can change
accept it, you know?
and accept what you have to deal with right now. Maybe it won't be like that again. You know, so you got to try to temper that fatalism a little bit.
Mindfulness.
Hey, man,
That
mindfulness is key.
So having these safe access to these substances, because it is huge, man. And the whole decrim, all the decrim nature platform, the whole model that all stands on is huge. I am a supporter of that. I know I put my name as a voter in Michigan on that ballot proposal, or that ballot initiative signature drive.
It's huge. It's
Going on
huge
right now, people. Check it
Yeah,
out.
if you
I did
haven't,
too.
there's probably all over the state there is a plethora of people gathering signatures. So if you haven't yet signed, I don't know if there's a website where you can go to see the places that you can go to sign, but I know in just about every major city, Lansing, Kalamazoo, Ann Arbor, Detroit, Traverse City, I can't remember if I said Grand Rapids. I've got a petition to sign in the Newaygo, West Muskegon area. Reach out, man. We have till June to gather signatures. I'm not sure exactly where we're at right now, but I mean, we need all the help we can get. And the biggest thing I have to tell people is even if you don't take psychedelics, right? Safe access, because it's your friends, your family, your coworkers that are using these substances, and they deserve safe access.
Yes, I agree. I do agree.
So
That is the main message right there.
No, and more education and things like that. Just like with cannabis, it's about responsible use, and that's it.
Yep.
It's other topics, it's different politics to talk about. Well, what about going on the roads and stuff like that? There's different laws and things like that at play for all of that kind of stuff. So
Sure.
this is about access right now.
But yeah, it's a
about
tool,
what people
man.
do as sovereign adults and the comfortable ability of their own homes.
Don't
and
legislate my
properties.
consciousness.
Yes, especially
Graham Hancock.
my property, but yeah, it is, man. Let's see here. Abolish. He was a part of the last Spread the Spores event. Abolish, you have
Sure.
anything you'd like to say about that last event, man? Before we get out of here.
Oh, other than it was great, and I can't wait for the next one. I mean, I couldn't think of a better person or better group to do it next to, you and Becca. And yeah, I love those Spread the Spore events because as like somebody that's my main mission is basically to try and grow as many different species of genetics of mushrooms as there is, or as I can. And those events really give me access to like genetics that I probably would never get a hold of. Like the very first event I did there, I got handed 4 or 5 very rare spore prints, and I cherish that. That was one of the coolest things for me.
Yeah, I love the community, man. I love the community. The fact that there's citizen scientists that are doing this such great work and this genetic makeup, and all they want is for others to grow it. They want them to be tested. They want this miracle to be accessible to everyone. And all they say is, hey man, if you get a good isolation, make sure I get one back. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
just to keep it
fair,
alive.
Yep, that's completely fair. Fair.
Just like cannabis.
Yep.
One thing I really liked in general was the sense of like it's not a competition amongst like vendors specifically. Like everybody wants the same thing, and that's for everybody to have safe access and be able to use these medicines for them if they need to.
Absolutely.
And that's what matters. I don't like the competition part of it. There's room for us all.
That was one of my biggest things with organizing this event is I wanted my vendors to be able to come in there, and obviously, as you know, my vending fee, as I've heard, I can't go off anything other than hearsay. It's a lot lower than most places are. And the reason I do that is so my vendors don't feel like they have to come in and trap their products to make it worth
awesome.
It for them to be there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I want you guys to feel as you're just as part being there as the people coming there, and all of us organizing it, and just all of us together is what makes these events so special.
I can understand a lot of what you just said there, man. And it is huge. The difference between having to make back your money when it's, 3 figures and 2 figures,
4 figures versus 3.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine. Yeah.
Red's getting those $99 table events apparently with his 2-figure table.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean double zeros. So like something between like a $500 table versus $1,000 table, and you're trying to make your money back, and you make your money back on $500, and you can actually hang out, party, be a part of the crowd.
You have to get there first.
$200 table, whatever. It's whatever it is. Every event's different. But like, I mean, like when you're strapped trying to pay off like $1,000 or two, like think of the High Times Cannabis Cup where they're doing $10,000.
Oh, yeah.
You're grinding, dude. You're absolutely grinding that shit out, trying to make your money. I mean, maybe you have, the clientele to get there really fast, and you don't really have to grind that heavy. But still,
but that's not what Spread the Spores is about, though. That's not like your mission statement. That's
what I like too, man. We're coming back down to the nitty gritty. See, Becca, you have anything else you want? No. Cam, you have anything else here, brother, you'd like to share with the community before we go out?
I could touch on the breath work a bit if we have time.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, shoot a little breath work. We usually end it at 2 hours, so we'll cut after that. Or unless you want to come back at a different time and we can talk about breath work at the next show.
Yeah, yeah, that would probably be better, man.
I don't mean
There's
the
a
next show
lot
like
to
next
go
week,
into.
but like, you know, we'll invite you. We'll open invite, you know, whenever you want to come back, man.
Absolutely,
Great to
man.
have you back.
I would
So.
yeah, I would love that. I'd love to be able to speak a little more on the topic. I could do a freaking rundown right now, but there's probably be so much information that I'd be missing.
So we got 2 more shows then. We got a Grateful Dead show, and then we got the Breathwork show. I like this, man.
I like
full
it. Stay
Grateful
tuned.
Dead show, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm
full
down.
Grateful Dead show. Yeah, we definitely got to have a nice fun one on that.
You have to come prepared. With,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Your favorite show and the 3 reasons why.
Share
And
screen, share
a whole
sound.
bunch
Word,
of
yeah,
a
I'm
whole
down
bunch
for
of
that. I'm down for
Almost
that.
on my birthday
whole bunch
show.
of screen prints to share and all kinds of shit. Cam, I will let you shout anybody out that you feel like before we got to get out of here. And anything
Yeah,
else, if you have any-
just honest to God, you know, shout out to you guys, Polarity Science, Skilbo, Abolished Farms. Thanks for having me on here, man. I mean, I've been blessed to work with some really great people planning this. Miss Vicious, Third Eye Muse. We'll be in Chicago next month. My buddy Red Torres. Oh my God, Happy Cultures. I could literally sit here and name every single vendor on my list
fourth
because
show.
to me, these vendors are my family. If you notice, most of the vendors are the same at all of my events, and that's because I vetted them. I've met them, and I love them. I love the relationship we're building. I believe they have safe products, clean genetics, and the knowledge to back them. That's all we need, man. I'll switch up my music and my speakers so that the knowledge can keep interchanging. There's always something new to learn, right? But I mean, my vendors are my family, man. And I absolutely love being able to see them. Like every time I walk in at the end of I try to make it at the end of every month. So it's just further enough away that I'm like, oh man, I really, really want to get back and see them, man. And every time it's just to further that to further that connection is just amazing.
Yeah, man.
You can tell when you're at an event.
You can.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate the access points, man, and opening it up and allowing like the whole medicinal kind of plant medicine, theogen, you know, cannabis, hash, you know, art, music, entheogens, you know, cacti, fungus, you know, whatever else may have been there, you know, whatever was undiscussed, you know, it is what it is safe access points. You know, I value that kind of stuff for a lot of different reasons, and I mostly just it's safety, man. It really is. It's safety.
Yeah.
And that you promote the whole testing reagent thing because again, more safety, the education behind all of that is really important, man. And I'm really happy to have been able to be part of this, like it seems like a vetted craft event. You know, that's really important to have these like craft events where like you said, like the vendors are vetted in that way, where you know their products, you know that they're not like, you know, you kind of said it like trapping and whatever, you know, not understanding the dosage of the stuff, you know,
Which
you
is
know,
really one of the biggest things for me, honestly.
certainly. Yes. And it's huge it's definitely one of the things I try to promote most the same as well. Dosing is huge because you know, the penis envy is 3 times as potent, 4 times as potent as a golden teacher, and you know, there's tons of, you know, it's not just penis envy. There's a whole class of 3 times more potent mushrooms, you know, and an eighth is not always an eighth, you know. So
the old a cube is a cube is a cube is null and void now, man.
Yeah, totally. I mean, dude, seeing these like whatever it is, like the DC whatever. I mean, some of
DC
these
Mac.
DC Mac is big giant mushrooms and they're super potent. I mean, good
I have a
stuff,
couple
man.
cultures of DC Mac on plates right now. I'm excited to run.
I'm a fan of that one. It's tasty specimen. But that's more that you guys can see. Spread your spores. So give Cam a shout out. If you have any questions, I'm sure you can forward them his way. I did put the link to his Instagram in chat, and I'll try to remember my best to make sure I link it up here in the show notes and everything. Cam, man, thank you so much for coming in. I want to give all of our viewers an awesome thank you very much for tuning in and joining the show. Please hit that thumb button, give us a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And everybody, thank you all very much for tuning in. Have a great night. Peace out, everybody.
Much love, everybody. Much love.
All right, let's